Go into your room, that's right. Sit on that fat of yours and do nothing but listen to records.
Okay, we're at GZ Media in the Czech Republic, and we're in one of the offices, and we're looking at some of the box sets produced here, and these should be familiar to many of you. Sorry about the reflection. And I'm thinking of all these boxes I have at home. Okay. Now we're in one of the offices, so you might as well have a quick look around. This is a very big facility. It's a campus. Okay, so you've been pressing records since 1951.
Yep.
And last year was your biggest year, you told me.
Yeah, GZ had a record number of records pressed. We pressed 30 million records in the Czech Republic last year, and we will do very probably better this year, at least it looks like so far. And GZ is not pressing records only in the Czech Republic, but as well in 3 other locations, because we have a majority stake in 3 companies. One in France, it's called SNHZ, where we started press records only recently, a couple months ago. And then we have a majority stake in Memphis Record Pressing in Tennessee, Memphis, and then Burlington, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, pressing record pressing.
And they're using presses that you manufacture here.
Yeah, actually all facility, with exception of Memphis, which was like a company that we bought, not built, where we have, let's say, inherited old presses, but the other companies are using, let's say, GZ branded presses.
Right. And the ones in Memphis, those have been around for a long, long time. That pressing plant's been around for a long time.
Not that long, probably 2012 was the first year they started to manufacture records. The company was there for a long time, but they used to press CDs and DVDs at a time. But right now they don't do any CDs, DVDs, they do only records. And we are trying to modernize the company and let's say improve most of the processes and get new equipment there as well.
So my understanding, and perhaps you could get involved in this, pressing records in a hot environment is much more difficult, cooling the water. So it's much different than it is here, I imagine.
As far as I know, I didn't have chance yet to visit Memphis, but I know that environment is much more difficult there. And even there was some additional investment from our side to be able to get good sources from heat and especially cooling point of view.
Yeah, and you should introduce yourself to the AnalogPlanet viewers.
So my name is Kamil Duba and I'm responsible for vinyl production in GZ.
Okay. So if they have any problems, they'll contact you directly.
Yes, you can.
This is the Guns N' Roses box. Look at this. This is great. I guess this is for the real Guns N' Roses fan.
Yes.
But it doesn't have the band cover, right?
Yeah.
The original cover for this was...
Yes, yeah, it was different.
Yeah, I guess that's no longer acceptable.
Box. Posters.
The Troubadour.
Oh.
I played at the Troubadour once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did stand-up comedy at the Troubadour.
Stickers.
And all that was printed here, everything was done here?
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite a production.
Yeah, it's quite a production, and this is.
Do you know how many of these were sold?
I know, but you can't tell it.
Was it a good number?
Thousands.
Thousands. That's amazing.
Yeah. This is a book.
Yeah. How much did they sell this box for?
I'm mistaken, $1,000. I don't know.
Wow.
Or 1999.
I mean, it's probably gone up in value, not down in value. I bet. Yeah.
Sorry?
I bet it's worth more now than when it was.
I don't know.
Well, I always say people buy records and packages like this as investments. They're making a big mistake. That's not.
Yes.
This is not what you invest in this for fun. For your pleasure.
It's more pleasure than investment. I would
Yeah,
say.
exactly. It's a shrine.
Yeah.
A shrine to decadence, but that's okay. This is like being on a set in Hollywood. A Hollywood lot looks very similar to this, in some ways, minus that. Okay, if you recheck. Upstairs.
We started last year, right?
Cutting. It's a labyrinthian facility. It's big.
Yeah. Vlastně máme poček si čítel.
Jste si vzali ten nejlepší moment, co už nemají klás.
Are we having a good time?
Yeah. It's good music.
How bad could it be? Just listen to music, cutting lacquers, cutting DMM.
DMM.
So if you've never seen copper cut, here it is. And there was a time when this was looked down upon because the people that were doing it didn't quite know how to deal with a new way of cutting. But I think they've gotten it down pretty well now. It's pretty precise. He's got big JBL monitors and he's got a tape recorder. Wow, look at this telephone. If people want to see this, people have wet dreams when they see this.
This is where I started 30 years ago.
Wow, this is a nice old board too. Neumann board? Cutting a single. Yeah, and how long have you owned the copper, the DMM lathe?
I believe that probably number 2 or number 3 DMM ever produced was sold to Cheesy at that time. So since 85, 84.
But there was a learning experience with this when they first started doing this. It didn't sound very good.
Yeah,
like everything else.
Really, I would say against DMM was that it was introduced at the late age of vinyl manufacturing.
Right.
So I don't think that Neumann had enough time to really finish the job.
Yes.
Otherwise they would fine tune it even better.
Yes.
But in the end, what we are doing here, our team of engineers, they are really doing a lot of amendments on the lathes.
Yeah.
So our lathe is much different than any that was manufactured at Neumann. So we have a team of engineers who are really redeveloping and continuing the R&D on them.
So you get a file in to cut, and you do the cutting. And how much of what you do has an artistic part of it, and how much of it's just cut what you're given?
I think most of it is.
Cut what you're given. It's prepared for you by someone who looks at it and decides if it's cuttable, because not everything's cuttable, correct?
Yeah, we have some pre-mastering.
Yeah.
And after that we cut.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's pretty straightforward.
But we split it into two phases. As
Yeah.
I said, what we are doing, because we try to maximize the cutting time, because it's so precious to have
Yes.
that time. So anything what goes here is already prepared. So someone before do the artistic part
Right.
and really like amend, change, fine tunes, and prepare the file so it's cuttable and according to the customer's best expectations.
Right.
Let's say that way.
And how many what percentage of the files come in at low resolution, and what percentage come as a high? Do you know?
I don't think we are the right persons to be asked.
Yeah.
There are 6 rooms like this. Let's
Wow.
see right now the vinyl, that's the lacquer one. Not in use right now.
Okay, this is the
Solidity.
SX74. We've all seen these. What I did. So this is where all the pre-prep happens.
Yes.
One of the places.
We divided the work for pre-mastering, mastering, and cutting. We do pre-mastering, mastering in separate studio to save the cutting time in
Right.
cutting studios. With the help of software that is able to compute the groove from the beginning till the end of the side, and it tells us the critical parts for the audio, so we can concern for processing of the critical parts of the audio.
So with a lot of young people doing their own recording and not knowing what they're doing,
Yes.
especially in relation to how it turns into a vinyl record,
Yeah.
does that give you a lot of work to do in terms of getting the bass in one place and dealing with phase issues that could be difficult to cut?
Yes, when I started to working for GZ 30 years ago, we cut everything from analog tape,
Right.
and it was quite easy than from digital files because of audio tape has its own limitation, very similar to vinyl records, and digital files has several issues that is difficult to transfer to vinyl records,
Yeah.
especially if it's not well handled.
Plus the engineering was better in the days when it was done by professionals. I think.
Yes, yes. Today it's very much more easier to buy equipment to prepare digital files for CD and for vinyl records, and a lot of people prepare the music, and it's not always well prepared for vinyl records. For example, clipping caused by signals higher than maximum digital dBFS, and it causes very short current peaks that is not possible to cut, and it's not possible to play. There are several problems during cutting. It is current into the cutting head, temperature and acceleration, and geometric, of course, because cutting stylus and playback stylus has some size, and if the groove has smaller size, it's not possible to cut or play. So then it is better to remove the signals that it's not possible to cut or play.
Yeah. We won't even talk about the musicians who want their music to clip. they give you files that are clipped and distorted on purpose.
Yeah, in these cases, the information is already lost. Yes, so we can ask customer to send us better files. Sometimes we receive new files. Sometimes it's not possible. So then we have very carefully process the signals to lower distortion that is already in original files.
And do you ever make unilateral aesthetic decisions, like saying, that's too bright, I'm going to make it sound a little bit sweeter? Do you ever do that? Or is that really not?
It depends on the customer preferences.
Yeah.
If we don't have any instruction, we always try to prepare to final vinyl records would be as similar as possible to original digital audio files.
Yeah.
It depends on the music, of course. We prepare differently classical music and different dance music, different metal music or jazz music. And, from 2007, I started to develop software for vinyl records preparation and later for quality control.
Great. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And this is mastering stage. Before mastering, we prepare pre-mastering from digital files. It depends how it files we receive. We prepare compilation for each side, and then we send it to our server. So every computer can download the digital data. The original digital data is never changed.
Right.
Just processing is different. Yeah, it helps us to change whatever we want if customers want be satisfied with the result, for example. And you see audio profile. There are several profiles. I show just basic profiles. This is left and right volume or level. This is horizontal and vertical amplitudes, and this is acceleration. So then we can see more information. There are the light green is current into the cutting head. Maybe better is this way. Then this light green is horizontal and vertical angle of the grooves, and here is horizontal and vertical radiuses. There are special indicators. You can see it here. That if I play the music, that it tells us angles and radiuses for the actually signals that you can hear. And if, for example, the radiuses are smaller than size of the playback tip, it causes distortion without any rub. And it depends what signals cause the distortion. If it is human voice, for example, it is much worse than percussion instruments.
Yeah.
So we need to carefully handle such limitation.
And you deal with sibilance, vocal sibilance. You deal with that too.
Yeah. This is common problems for vinyl records, because it is better to lower sibilance volume than leave it as is, and cutting late will do it more worse, or playback tip it.
Much easier to deal with that in the digital domain than on tape. If you have sibilance on tape, you have to have a de-esser.
Yes.
This is easier.
Yeah. We have special processing. You can see it here. This is a very universal dynamic processors. We can change dynamics for the whole band, but usually we do it just very accurate for some band. We can do it for left and right channel, or we can do it for mid or side channel. For example, if it is caused by mono signals, we can change the mono signals. I can show you how it works. Now you see the processings.
Yep.
And you see the signals where it's threshold, and now we hear the signals that we remove from the original files. You see?
Yep.
It does almost nothing. Here you can see the volume that we remove from the signals, but it helps a lot
Sure.
to when I change the threshold, for example.
Yeah. I find this is the thing I find interesting up here.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously information that's generated by the program that you developed, because that's obviously not part of the original file signal.
Yeah. Oh, I can show you another thing. This cutting simulator. You see? This is cutting stylus. And if I play the signal. Yeah.
And this is all a simulation built based upon your program.
This is exactly the same view as we see in the microscope when we cut the records.
Yep.
And we can see it on cutting lathe in the microscope and see the differences between the computed groove and actually cut groove. Yeah, and if I change the volume, for example, you can see the difference. Yeah.
Oops.
Or if I change if I set some filter, we can immediately see how the groove is changing.
Yeah. Hearing this, if you're thinking about making sure it's playable on the least expensive turntables, or making sure that it sounds the best for the most expensive turntables.
If we have any instruction from the customers, we try to set the cutting level according to their instructions and preferences. It's no problem if we can cut it, if there is no problems during cutting, and if there are some problems during cutting, we still can cut it at half speed, for example, or at 66% of speed of original, and then usually acceleration, temperature, and current into cutting end is no longer the problem. But geometric problems always stay there. So it depends what is worse. I remember it's about several months. I was preparing the Mike Oldfield album that have a very big dynamic. There are quiet parts, very quiet parts that needed to be louder, but then are 5 or 6 very terrible places. And if I prepare it according to the loudest parts, the quiet parts will be too loud, too low loudness, and probably noise and clicks and cracks would be more hearable. So at the end, I set the cutting level higher because I didn't want to change dynamics.
Yes.
And the result was very good, even if the louder part was distorted.
Yeah.
It always depends on the kind of music instruments. I have experienced that especially American country is very sensitive for distortion, yeah, because usually the voice lies above 6 decibel above the music,
Yeah.
and then if it's not masked by the music, everything is more hearable.
Yeah.
So then it's better to cut it at lower cutting level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you for this. Is really interesting. I think people really learn to appreciate how not easy it is to do this. We've got tape machines and tape cutting, and there's so much going on here. We could probably spend a couple of days here, but we don't have a couple of days. So now we're going to go show you something really, really interesting. And it's not this plant.
So this one is our QC room for claims and test pressings. So it's not our standard production room, which is much larger with many more stations like this.
Right.
But it will demonstrate the same what we are doing, let's say,
Right.
for, let's say, our live pressings.
So here are two systems that is collected from computer and 4 turntables. We have another systems in production area. Only difference is that there are 8 turntables. It is capable to record simultaneously up to 8 turntables, and it compare recorded signals against the signals that was used for cutting. We can compare against the customer's audio files,
Right.
or against the signals that was fed into the cutting head.
Right.
Yeah. So we know the differences in the whole production process.
Ah.
Yeah, and it works due to synchronization of the signals from the turntable against original signals.
Right.
So we are able to hear original signal, recorded signal, and difference.
Oh, you can do the
Video?
difference between the two. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right,
yeah. I will show you. So maybe it's better to listen.
I'm putting on headphones now.
Now you hear the original signals
Okay.
that was fed into the cutting head. This is recorded signal.
That's what?
Recorded
Okay.
from turntable, and this is difference.
Difference.
Yeah. There is still some difference.
Yeah.
Due to crosstalk on the turntable,
Yeah.
because original signals has no crosstalk, of course.
Right.
So, but you are able to
And
hear.
you're also using an inexpensive cartridge.
You see, the green line is original signals,
Yeah.
and red one is some crack from the turntable.
So what accounts for that dip in the right in that one spot there?
Yeah,
Right.
and I will
Like that. What makes that happen?
probably due to some pressing problems or
Yeah.
galvanic problems.
But that's a
or if there is something, some dirtiness.
Yeah.
On
But
the
the thing is,
records.
we record multiple records from one title,
Yeah.
so you can identify if this is a serial error or that error is only on that
Right.
one
Yeah,
particular.
yeah,
And how much time does that represent? How much time?
This is 1 millisecond.
Okay, so you're not going to hear that really.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Well, you'll hear
listen,
it.
Listen, this is original. This is from turntable, and this is difference.
Oh, there's a pop. There's a pop in the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's causing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can show you the different way. This is horizontal. This is difference. This is like if you look on the
That looks like a black hole in
cartridge.
space. Okay.
Yeah. And this is 3D signal, so you can see it in 3D space. You see?
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. Or you can see it in time animation. You see? The blue one is cutting stylus,
Whoops.
and yellow is playback stylus.
Huh.
Yes, and we can.
And so when you identify like that pop, that click, so then you want to go back and check another pressing to see whether it's on every record?
Yeah.
If it's on every record, you got to start over again?
Yeah, but as you can see,
Yeah.
there are already two the same records recorded at the same
Yeah, you
time.
see?
Right.
So we know it at the same time. We just can check if the same pop is on the other record as well,
Right.
and then you know that very probably you have a stamper issue.
I can tell you this is a level of quality control that I would say most people that are watching this had no idea that you go through. I know that for a fact because the cynics would say, "Oh, they get a file, they cut it, and they make a record, and they send it out." They have no, and this is really great.
We put like every 500 records, we put like at least 2 records on the turntable and check it according to the cut signal. So that's the golden rule. So
Wow.
so there is I would say that's one of the most extensive controls in the record industry, and we keep track of all problems. So you basically can identify that particle press is making better or worse records. You can
Yeah.
track that this
Of
kind
the same
of
record.
of the same.
No, if you have a big
No,
production
like
of
if you-
10,000
if
copies.
you have a large scale
Yeah.
and you monitor, let's say, this by days, weeks, and months, so you realize if, let's say, the reject percentage is higher from one press or another, if one operator is better than the other, or if a compound is better.
Yeah.
So it gets you to improve your overall quality in the end
Yeah,
by
and-
large scale.
And
by
this
large
is a
numbers.
level of quality control that didn't exist in the old days of pressing records. There's no way.
It did exist. It didn't exist here 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it's really like a brand new development.
You can see it here. This is a real view with the mistakes
Yeah.
from the left channel. So we immediately know how many and how serious errors
Yeah.
are on the disk. This is left channel. This is right channel. Much worse. This
Yeah.
is high frequency loss. This is amplitude, horizontal and vertical amplitude problem. This is eccentricity, warping,
Wow.
and horizontal and vertical differences in angles, and this is the same for frequency differences.
So-
it looks almost very well, and if I play the record, it behaves like a virtual turntable.
So theoretically, you could make the best damn test record for the business that's possible.
It's really like it removes the subjectivity of the QC.
Yeah.
Because here this is the list of all errors or all differences between master and record. And someone needs to, because there are like usually tens or hundreds of different differences.
Yeah.
And somebody right now should evaluate, is it still acceptable or not?
I think that's a Shure M44 cartridge in there. All right, I think most people watching this have seen galvanics, but I'm not sure they've seen this bigger room. This is a big, big room. Wow, it's 2 big rooms.
has the blackness, so that's when we produce the mother's master plates plus the mother's
The lacquer.
from lacquers.
And this is copper.
This is for the DMM. See, so when they fill it up,
What percentage of what you do is lacquer?
it's for about like 60% is DMM, 40% is lacquer. Depending, first of all, it depends on the customers.
Sure.
Sometimes there are a lot of different schools all around the world. They usually drop into lacquer. So each set can drop into DMM or lacquer. So there is an option for customers to decide. There is the issue. This is automated machine for copper plating.
Oh.
These are the blank plates. You put the
That's stainless steel.
That's the stainless steel plate. You put and here is the copper plate. You see? And then we supply them to the studios.
So this is the manufacturing of the copper plate.
Yeah, this is manufacturing of the copper plate. So it's kind of like pre-processed, that is automated. This is the copper plating itself. The pads. In these pads, we put the copper layer on top of the stainless steel. And in that little facility, in the glass box or something, that's where we do the decoupling. So we do that chemically. So once we get used plates, we decouple them and use the stainless steel plates again. It means we recycle. Temperatures, because what you do is that you play the master plate, which is the DMM, and you get this stamper right away.
Right. You don't
you
do
can,
it through process.
yeah, exactly, and you can repeat it over and over.
Yeah.
There is certain capacity, how many well, it depends on the music and depends on the quality of the DMM, but you can produce more stampers out of one master plate.
Yep.
The lacquer is kind of tricky because once you start plating the lacquer, you can do it only once.
Yes.
So you do the silvering and you produce further. Yep. So you need to make sure that you are successful with plating the master plate. Once you get the further, it's negative. So this is playable, this is negative.
Right.
Mother is playable, negative, and then there is the result.
Right, so it's a three-step process.
Three-step process, so you can see the difference between the DMM and the lacquer process.
Yep. And what are these?
These are the nickel balls,
Oh,
and you put
this
them
is
in the
raw material.
bags.
Right.
So
And they melt.
yeah, they
dissolve.
kind of the molecules get out of the balls
Yep.
and get attached thanks to the electroplating.
Yep.
And this is something unique we do. We also produce the DMM plates with images, so it's not playable. But one side of the record you can have with an image. So it's called chemical etching.
Yeah.
It's done on the DMM plate chemically. And also we have also can produce three-dimensional holograms. This is done directly to the grooves. It's a kind of this is a new technology that we are actually doing. So you can see there is a groove, and also
Yeah.
there is an image.
How does it affect the sound? Affect the sound? Muscles a little.
Yeah, in some level, it worsens the sound a little bit, but still the quality is good. And you have this kind of nice
Looks great,
feature.
yeah.
You can have the feature not only in the grooves, but you can also have it without any music. It's up to you. So you can see how cool it is.
That's true.
This is just a sample.
Yeah.
Like Michael told you, we got the opening day tomorrow, so this is a kind of presentation for the people, families that come over to
Sorry,
see.
I can't be here tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be
Fascinating.
really nice. So what we do, we pack the master plates and put them into sleep like this. And we put them in stock, you know, in the shelves.
And they have a barcode, and you can get to them.
And we got barcodes, and we can track down the history, where the plates are, all the things.
Yeah.
How many stampers we produced out of the master plates.
And where are these stored?
I will show you. We got over 100,000 plates in warehouse, and it's still growing.
I'm sure they are. They better be.
Once the stamper comes from the galvanic, from the plating, we need to finish the backside, then finish the center for the label. What we do, we cut the edge, then punch the hole. This is really tricky.
I know.
Because you need to punch it even in the center, so it's not, you know, the stylus is not moving.
Yep.
Just to show the difference, here is already the brushed one, but like this it looks
it's
when
unfinished.
it goes
Yes.
when it goes directly from the bar.
Yeah, and once you punch the center hole, it goes into these presses. You got 3 presses for LP, SP, and MP. And what we do, we call it the coining. So it's actually we press the stamper into the shape of the mold.
Yep.
It fits on the pressing, vinyl pressing machine.
These shaping machines are interesting from one point of view because these are the oldest machines in GZ. The original date of this machine in 1968, and they are still working.
That's back in the era when it was a law that all machines have to be painted that green color.
Yes, exactly.
Lathes are that color. Every place I go around the world, I go to lathes, you know, just machine shops. Everything's that green.
You will see it also in our pressing shop because some automatic machines, we have still old automatic machines and they are green also.
Yeah. Just like all cars, it's a law. All car doors have to have chrome. You know, when you open the car door from the inside, it has to be silver or chrome. I don't know what it doesn't have to be, but they make it that way.
They will start finishing the stamper. So if you want to take shoot a little bit, this is handmade. It's kind of
So this is where you cut the center, right?
This is the old machine.
This is old machine, but we have new one.
Oh, cool. So this one uses a microscope, and they push it in the center until the grooves are not moving, and then they pop it.
You need first to take the final end groove. You need to center it perfectly.
Right.
And once you are in the tolerance, then you can cut it as well.
Oh, I've never seen one of these. And where are these made?
In the UK.
Oh. And so you just put this damper in there, and it centers it semi-automatically.
You need to nudge. You need to nudge the table manually.
Right.
You are not, because there is a lot of safety.
You adjust manually to go to the center, and then you just push the button and
it punches the hole.
Right.
But you need to operate the nudging hammer over there. So this machine is much more safer than the old one.
I got
because
you.
You are not touching the
Right. So that little thing right there is
Oh
nudging.
yes, it's nudging.
And so she's doing the shaping.
Uh,
Oh, she's deburring it.
Brushing.
Yes.
No, tak pojď to vyseknout.
Pak střed už máme vybroušené. To neviděl.
Okay, so first she did the polishing on the back, and now she's.
She needs to punch the hole because it wouldn't fit in this machine.
I see. Vacuum hold down. Like my furniture turntable.
So there is the lead out, she's watching out for the lead out groove.
Yeah.
So make that even. And you see the scale. This is 50 microns. This one scale line. One line is for about roughly 40-50 microns. How even it must be.
Yep. And there you go.
Brushing the center,
Yep.
because when we place the label in the pressing, it fit correctly the label and prevent moving in the machine.
Right.
Here goes the training. Here, můžete nám ukázat příjem. We put labels on the packages, on the stamper package,
Right.
and a unique serial number. So we are tracking down every single stamper that we got here. So we can track down all the stampers throughout the process.
So she's typing in the numbers.
Yes, she's typing the reference numbers because it's hard to. Yeah, we also are checking the weight, so we estimate if the stamper has proper thickness.
Yep.
And she puts the label on top. and she confirms by scanning the number, and this introduces the stamper into the system. So once I scan it with this,
And at what point in the history of this company did this whole process get?
I introduced that myself
how
2
long?
years
2
ago.
years ago. Wow.
It's before that it was insane to find
And
this
Paper job.
paper job. Yeah.
and have you gone back in time and updated?
Yes, we did the.
What a job that must
Yeah,
be.
that was half a year, 1/2 of the year. We were just introducing all the master plates into the system.
But that also increases the value of everything, because when you know where everything is,
yeah,
without
it's
it,
more,
it's
it's
useless.
much more efficient.
Yeah.
It's more precise. So we save time. Not only looking to the shelves, but we can also estimate and say how long the master plates are kept in the system. So you see, I scan the barcode, and it tells me customer, it tells me the stamper number, the serial number, and I can start moving the stamper throughout the process. I can put it into the shelves.
and you know what it is.
Yeah, and I can put it into, let's say,
Whoa.
this location, and it's in there already, and put it in there. So this is the safety production stock of the stampers.
And are you still? Have you finished going through all the back catalog, or are you still in the process of going through the back stampers and cataloging them?
The stampers, we recycle them, we throw them away after production. So what we are keeping in shelves are only the master plates.
Oh, so these are master plates.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
that's
how
what
it,
I meant.
how
I
it
used
goes?
the word stamper.
Yeah,
right?
whatever. So how it goes? Well, we receive a job, let's say for 10,000 records. Then we estimate how many stampers we need. We produce them because for, let's say 10,000 records, we cannot use just one pair of stampers. So we need to plate more stampers for this kind of job. We plate them, put them into the shelves, and they are ready for the production. And once the job is complete and the stampers are used, we throw them away and recycle the nickel.
Right.
Yeah, and we store the master plates in the warehouse.
Which is all you need. That's all you need.
Here you have example. Here are master plates.
Yes.
In this type of packaging.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the stampers waiting for
Production.
Yeah. When everything will be ready and when our planning system tell us we can start production, the peoples come here and move the stampers to the production area.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can see this is just one part of the warehouse. So we got three other rooms. They are full of master plates. Yeah. And the master plate labels or what we call as a.
And that'll tell you what the music is also.
Yeah.
What is that one? Just for the hell of it.
Well,
maybe it's something cool.
It tells me only the customer. And I don't know what the music is in there, so I would need to look up and see based on the numbers.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
It's not important for what you do, but wow, look at all this.
It tells me the catalog number, but it's hard to tell what the music is.
Boy, I can think of a lot of metal parts that we all wish were saved. A lot of metal parts that were saved, but they weren't. They may be someplace, but we don't know where they are. But these guys know where everything is. That's really fantastic.
Yeah. See, so I put this, and let's see if this works. Hold on, not this one. It will be scanned as stamper. Because the test pressing, they have blank labels, so I cannot.
Okay, so you scan this one.
Hold on, scan this one. Hold on, this one. This one. Here you go. You see, I can enlarge the label and have a see.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah, Elton John.
Huh.
Yeah, So you can get good reference of the you can track also the stampers and see what jobs they relate to. So sometimes when I have the test pressing, I don't know what the labels will be because I don't have the full order in production.
This is another room of master plates.
And not the final one.
Unbelievable.
So this is
It's part of the-
let's say the room which is shared. This part is for the printing department.
Okay.
And this part is the record department,
Okay.
where we are making aging of the records. Because after pressing, before to move to the assembly to the sleeves, we keep cool down still the records to keep correct shape.
Right.
Now we will quickly go through pressing, but we will go back. Don't worry.
Get back, handkerchief. I don't think those records will never go out of print. It's actually the Elton John factory. They don't want to tell you that. What's Alpha's hard to keep working. I heard they're hard to keep working. Oh, this must be something to do with Devo.
Don't worry, we will come back.
I know. See that? They're not just blowing smoke here, but they are blowing some smoke. Oh, look. These octagonal shaped boxes or whatever it seems to be the standard
These are
pellet.
for the vinyl compound.
Yep.
So we are in compound making production section. Here is 4 parts of the building. Now we are in the first part where incoming material is coming, raw material. Here we are receiving PVC, real PVC,
Right.
and copolymer. And just by this system we put the powder to the system. So here is like some small silos where we put material inside, and then by using vacuum transportation we move it to the next part of the process.
PVC and copolymer are two
Main
components
Right.
of the vinyl compound.
And then they get mixed here into one.
they mix in at the next.
In the next
at
process.
show.
Yeah, yeah. And while we are mixing them, we put the other materials in to make the vinyl compound proper press.
Right. So you got like the moldings compound to make it so it doesn't stick,
Oh yeah.
etc., etc.
They're like additives. You can call it
Yes.
additives, different types of additives
Right.
to be able, so we can press proper records and also to produce the pellets.
Right.
So
You want to keep it so that the vinyl is still pliable.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
get too
and
stiff.
it melts. Actually, it melts together. While you are actually producing the pellets,
Yeah.
it's heated. The material is heated, gets
plasticity.
polymerized,
Yeah.
and then you cut it into the pellets and dry it.
Second part of the building is mixing. So on the top you can see 2 scales for weight. One of the left, it's big one, where the exact weight of PVC and copolymer it's made, and through the horizontal transporter it is placed to the hot mixer, And on the right side, here from the hall, you can see the small scale where the additives are prepared. Just for your image, here we are speaking about about hundreds of kilograms. Here we are speaking about hundreds of grams. So it's why we need two separated equipment to be enough precise. Also, the additives are coming to the hot mixer, which is this one on the top. And then there is the mixing process, where we mix all components together to achieve a certain temperature. And after achieving this temperature, everything is going down to the cold mixer. And again, in the cold mixer, we are waiting when the temperature is going down to the described temperature. And then we transport it again to the last process.
And this is before it becomes any color. At this point, it's got no
still
color.
powder and it's still generic.
We call it like dry blend.
Right.
It is the basic color which we are using also in our portfolio.
Right.
And it's like partly milky, partly transparent. It is the nature color of the compound.
Right.
Basically, suppose you would be pressing from the dry blend, it would be the purest vinyl compound you would ever use.
Right.
Even better than the black one.
Yeah.
Because in the black one you are using the ash, black ash.
Right.
The industry cut. So basically this is the generic thing before we put the coloring.
Yeah.
And we are mixing it in the big
One cycle, it's 150 kilograms.
That's the batch.
And from these two silos, we are delivering the material to 3 extruder machines. So at this moment, we have these 3 extruder machines, which make us capacity of 1,000 kilograms of compound per hour. At this moment. So if we move more. We supply the dry blend. Then the dry blend you can see here in the window is falling down to the machines, and from the side we are adding the color. We are adding the powder which is making final color of the compound. The machine itself is extremely with 2 tubes inside, so there is heating and even cooling in each section, so we can manage the temperature in each section. In the end, you have the head from which is coming out the material.
The razor blade, the blade, right?
And the cutting blade
Yep.
is here running all around with the 3 knives, and by this way you are getting the compound pellet. Still the material is very hot here, so it's like moving to the cooling machine where the temperature is going down. Here we have the magnet separator to take out the particles of the steel. Exactly. And the material is already cooling to the bottom.
This is going to make orange record.
And already, as Michael told you, on our palette currently we have 34 basic colors, which we are offering usually, but based on the customer request we are able to make any type of color.
And from my experience, the dip, although nothing was quiet, all the colors could be quiet, but they sound different.
Yes.
So the harshness, there's something about it makes it sound different. Not good.
You are correct.
I've got an orange copy of the Rolling Stone Some Girls pressed in Holland. It's mastered by the same place in New York, Sterling Sound.
Sounds different.
And that orange is the best sounding one. I don't know why.
That's true.
Depends.
And the last part, let's say number 4 of this production hall, is the storage already of the final compound. For each of them again we have clear identification, and just for visualization in front of each.
Can't beat a visual.
Yeah.
You can't beat a visual.
Yeah.
I know what color it is.
And these are even the samples which are signed by quality.
Yeah.
That from color point of view and from music point of view, that was okay.
Yeah. You want a yellow record, you got a yellow record. You want a swirly record, you got a swirly record. You want a pink record, you got a pink record.
So 350.
That's the colored one.
This is the colored one. This is the pink one. And we are doing 500 kilograms per hour. And this machine under preparation still. And here we will do 200 kilograms per hour.
Now let me ask you this question. When you're doing colored vinyl, like orange, and then you're going to switch to a different color, how difficult is it to clean out the machine so there are no...
Depends.
Yeah.
Because you have some colors
Yeah.
when you can just go smoothly. For example, if you have some white green and you are going to the dark green, you can go smoothly,
Yeah.
and the material in between be recycled directly and colored again.
Right.
But if you change from the white one to the black one, you need completely stop the machine, take out the screws, and perfectly cleaning all the
And
system.
that takes time.
It's difficult.
Yeah. Okay, now we're back outside. Okay, label.
So once we get the labels from our printing department, they are not yet ready for the production. They are still a little bit wet, so it's why we need to make them dry.
So you print the labels too?
Yes.
You also,
Yes. So here we have several ovens, and to the exact temperature and exact time we put the labels.
right.
They stay there, and after the time is completed, then we can use the labels for pressing. If there will be not correct drying of the labels, we can get visual failures on the label itself, because the label will stick on the stamper
Right.
and the paper will be damaged.
Yeah. And these big things are going
For picture disc.
for picture disc, yeah. Has the sound quality gotten any better in picture disc? You still lose.
It's loose.
It's loose,
Yeah.
but
But you know what? There is no vinyl compound plate. There is actually PVC
Foil.
sheet.
Oh,
Because
On the top.
it's like a sandwich. So you have a puck, vinyl puck,
yeah.
then you have two labels, and then you put foil, special foil on
We-
top. On
we
top.
can show it.
We will show
Yeah,
you.
okay.
So what it actually plays is the plastic sheet, not the vinyl.
Oh, that's why it doesn't sound so
Yeah.
good.
and this is the crucial point, because you can get, when you place the foil, PVC foil, the foil can have different thickness. Less thickness, it's better for production, but the thickness is too small that structure of the paper can start to have the role for the final music
Yeah.
quality. So you have to find good thickness of the foil in comparison with the rest of the process to can get good balance for the quality.
I think we hang
processing.
those on the wall. We hang those.
I have the original that Scott Walker record. He was great. He's dead. Coltrane. Squeeze cool for cats.
Prince, Madonna,
Michael Jackson?
yeah, Michael Jackson.
Boy Haynes Quartet. I have an original of that.
Is it true that Michael Jackson is prohibited in USA now?
Probably banned.
No, on the radio. Yeah,
Some places aren't playing it anymore. I think it's so ridiculous. There's
it
Woodstock,
is.
Marvin Gaye, Queen's Greatest Hits. Intermediate stock of stampers before they go out there to the presses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they got ready in kind of like these packages when there is the work order, stampers, and the labels are. This needs to be synchronized with the production. So
Yes.
we need to make sure that we got the labels ready for the production. You know. So what it does. So for instance, I show you, I scan this barcode, and it tells me what job it is, how many records I need to press, and what is the lead time, what is the due date, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The distance for 2 jobs, so one is black record, and then there is color record.
Of the same record.
For the same titles, same
Yeah.
stampers. And also when you look, when I hold on the, I can get the reference of the stampers. It should match, so you see it's matching
Yep.
with the labels, and I can check the labels if they are correct, whatever. And there is one cool feature that was just introduced lately, and the thing is that the quality control, when they scan it, I will show you. The quality control, when they scan it, they need to go through this process of checking the job. So this job tells you how heavy the record should be. So it tells you how much grams it weighs. You can tell how much it is. If it's more or less than requested, it turns red. You see.
Yeah.
So I need to tell the system how heavy the record is. Then I need to check the quality of the grooves. This is how sensitive the record is because of the horns.
Right.
You know So each side. Then it tells they need to check the inner hole if it's so it fits on the turntable. So it needs to be good quality. Then it tells you what record it is, what color you are using, then the stamper number, the speed. No, the speed, the RPM.
Yeah.
Then the engraving, so the engraving needs to be correct. Then they check the labels. Then they check the tracks. So this stands for 4 tracks. They need to tell how many tracks, if they are equal with the tracks on the label. Then again for the other side, the stamper number. And then again RPM, engraving, label for the B side, and then there is the checklist, complete checklist, and you complete it and tell that you did the quality control check. It's fantastic because you don't need to look up in the computer. It tells you, and this guides you through the quality control, so you cannot skip any part of the quality control steps. So this kind of fantastic, and also it gives you good visualization for the pressing operator. So for instance, this is the visualization for the picture disc. So you see how the sandwich with the vinyl pack is compounded.
And it's not on the same the presses can do any kind of.
Yes, yeah. So
Main reason for this was that we have a lot of operators coming not from Czech Republic. We train them, of course, but previously everything was written by Czech language, which was very difficult.
Yes.
But here it's also his great job. He is the owner of this process improvement. But here you can see, for example, how the cakes should be assembled together. What are the basic
To
colors?
achieve this effect.
What looks the effect finally? And here is just the remaining, that there is the splatters on it.
And let me show
So
you.
very clearly for the people.
We'll probably
to
get to the
understand.
pressing pretty soon. So we're running
Yeah, when I scan it, I scan it, so it will give me the same information, how the record should look like, what color it should be, whatever. So it's kind of cool thing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, of course, you can start very easily with the simple color,
Yeah.
which is very normal, let's say. But then we are starting to produce many effects. So here it's color in the color, 3 colors together. Here is the splatter in the powder. Here is the splattering in the pellets, let's say, or compound. Just go to this one, it is just half. Side A, side B, similar to this one, just the size of the cake is a little bit different. Same, there are 2 colors, here there are 3 colors. Marble effect. Difference with this one is that you mix here the compound together. Here is the splattering, but here is the mixing together. Here is the speciality. This we are only one company on the world who is making. This effect is made on the automatic press, but we cannot tell how it is done.
Okay.
It's called Galaxy.
We call it Galaxy effect. We have some special treatment also. It's really a special assembling of the cakes together, and then we have the silk and other type of effects. Of course, we are doing the shape disc.
Right.
And here is the picture disc, as we explained to you. So you can see that the compound is just in the middle, but you have complete 100% label, and over it there is the foil, and we will show you exactly the component when we will be on the
The
top.
operators today are doing, it's kind of like new feature in the production as well. So they are scanning the charts and they are making sure that once the records are pressed, they introduce the records into the stock. So we keep tracking all the records in the warehouse. And again, related to the labels, related to the stampers, related to the charts, related to the operators, so we know who pressed that, who actually received the records and stuff. So thank you.
On the shop floor of the pressing, currently we have 57 of tools. 22 of them are 32 of them are manual,
Right.
and 25 of them are automatic.
Okay.
Why we keep so big amount of the manuals? It's because most of the effects you can do only manually.
I was gonna say I don't see how you can do that.
So, and we will show exactly on the place. So please follow me. So manual machines are constructed like 2 cavity, and depends on which type of the records we are making. If there is this simple effect, one operator is operating both of the cavities. If the effect is more complicated, it can happen that 2 operators are on the press. All the process is starting by small extruders or plastificator. Like you saw, material from the pellets is going again to be plastified, and they are making the shape of the cake. She is just starting, so maybe we can go to the next one. But there he is starting after color change. Here you can see like material is going out from the plastic. And from the top then is arriving the cavity, which is making the final shape.
I see. Yep.
Here from this view, you can see exactly how the cake is.
Really nice. It's really nice.
And here you can see exactly she is doing two color effect with splattering. So it's exactly what she is doing. Two type of cake.
Jenom zkusím, jak to má na to.
She is just now starting. So she is now verifying how she was putting the stamper to the machine.
Right.
Because there is big risk if between the tool and the stamper stays some contamination, it makes you visual defect on the record, which can be also acoustic. So it's very important to verify visually then if there are not some holes on the surface of the record. So it's why she is now verifying after starting if everything was okay. Here you can see how she is making visual.
This is just for the setup, so these are tests. Once she's happy with the settings, she will start doing the splitters with this technology.
So maybe you can go here to the side.
Yeah. That's true. After the splatter.
And here you can see she already assembled both of cake together and making splatter.
Would you like to try it? I would film you, I will shoot you.
Okay.
Maybe the simple one.
Well, look at that. That was so
But anyway, the workflow is that she plays on the bottom. We will see.
It's like baking a cake.
So she takes the label, put it on the down, then the cake, top label, and close. Ale nějakou jednoduchou. After the pressing, here is the cupping machine which does the overflow around. And then in the end she is controlling the quality and place it to the box. Between each 5 records we are placing this aluminium plate to again assure that temperature is distributed correctly and cooling down is going on.
The Psychedelic Corn Crumpets. That's the name of that band. Psychedelic Corn Crumpets.
So you want to try?
Yeah, I love that. As long as the press doesn't close on my fingers, I'm happy.
No, nothing happens.
Once again, just in case. She prepared the cake, she placed it here. Then you can use second one also, doesn't matter.
Yesterday I actually adjusted the flange of a $6,000 cartridge for the first time, which is really tricky, but I didn't break it.
So, let's go and let's try.
You're going to take that out, right?
Yes, but take care about hand. You don't break the safety frame.
Get ready.
Ah,
I need to grab one. That's not there.
no. First, take out.
Oh, is there a record there?
Yes, from the top. Take out. Exactly. Place to the place here.
Here. Exactly.
Then, okay?
Here.
Oh, too late. Don't worry, you can manage to go down.
Okay. Different stage, different stage. Sorry, this is my record.
No problem. You can see it's not so simple.
Yeah, no, I know it's not. My timing was off. Okay, now. Not yet? Now?
Wait a moment.
Now?
Okay.
Now?
Now you can pull the top one and that's it.
It's tumbleweed connection.
And again, take out. Už vás pustíme, jo? On se tady dá na odebávačku a... You want try next one?
Yeah, why not?
Tak ještě jeden si udělám. Radši to pak dejte stranou, jo? No, on the bottom now.
Oh.
Sometimes top, sometimes bottom.
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't know so
Here?
Okay, I gotta hurry. One.
Okay. Bottom, top one.
Get on there. This is nerve-wracking.
And for achieve the norm,
Yeah.
this one you have to make in 30 seconds.
And what?
In 30 seconds
Oh.
to achieve the salary norm.
Okay. I won't achieve the salary. I'm done. You can take over here.
She will continue, don't worry. Just you can take it out.
Right.
And it's your own record. Just pull down. Like this. And to the cutter.
It's like an amusement park. I pressed 5 records. Now?
Then you can take out. Děkujeme. Yes, I think you put 2 labels, right?
That's what I was afraid I did. It's okay that with 2 labels? You get one off? I thought that might have happened. It's okay with 2 labels, right?
It's okay, but just it's not nice.
It's too late to get it off? Okay.
Here is the flavor. Take this.
I'll take this one. Thank you.
Děkujeme. Department.
Right.
And quality department, they have the staff also all the production time, and they are making random control of the report.
Dusty Springfield, that's a good record. Dusty Springfield.
On every machine when you arrive, you have this production order and also initial sample.
Right.
This is, let's say, first approved sample for production, where the people can make control, even we are checking the weight, if it is correct and if it is in tolerances. These 3 lines which you saw are manual. Here you can see production of the picture. Please go here. And here you will see it because production weighs a little bit different. Don't worry, wait for the next step.
He's going to do it over here.
No, because this is complicated for the norm. So just one tool for one operator. But here you can see she is preparing the foil.
Yeah.
This is just for your reference.
Right.
label, cake, big label, opposite side, and foil on the top. Also on the picture disc, it's important to have it correctly centralized. So it's why on the back side we have this line. When the operator, when they place it, bottom he can see, and the top he can just visually verify if they are aligned so. We have tolerance 5 degrees to can be realigned.
What is that machine doing over there?
It is plastificator. So again the material is coming out for small extruder.
Oh, okay.
So the material in the pellets is put it inside, and through the extruder cake is great. Plastified. Start our lines of automatic machines.
These are all your invention. These are your custom machines.
The blue one is GZ development based on ideas of Tulex Alpha.
I can see.
But there in the corner and in the second hall you will see original Tulex Alpha. So for the process, you can go here. And you can look inside. It is the pellet material going to the plastificator. Here is created the cake. Then it will open and will be moved between the two. Of the record, and
that's getting the labels and moving the labels.
Exactly, by vacuum, top side, bottom side, it gets the labels, and again when the tool will open, labels are moved in together with the cake, up, releasing, and...
So it missed the label, didn't it? No, didn't miss the label?
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay. I see.
And then the arm move it to the automatic.
Over there.
Automatic.
Yeah. Way in there. Yeah. Cut right there. Another Elton John record.
Efficiency of this process is that one operator in average can operate between 3 or 4 machines. So you can see difference in comparison with the manual.
Yep.
Cycle time is shorter, and one operator can serve more machines.
And the records automatically stack up.
Yeah. Again, you can see several different colors.
How many maintenance guys are on hand at all times to like fix something like this?
5 for each ship. 5 máme kdo jim
There is different system for the ship. There are 2 technicians for every ship. It means it is the team for 4-ship system. But then during the week, on the morning, we have additional 3 people for more difficult jobs. So in the morning you can see 5 technicians, but it's because 2 of the ship process and 3 of specialists for process improvement.
So what is he changing, you know?
Now there was problem with the vacuum,
yeah.
for the labels, so he is going to exchange the vacuum arm. And here you can see original. Don't be surprised when you turn back.
But wait, there's more.
Additional automatic machine.
Are we going to walk through this?
Right side is 2X alpha.
Yeah.
Left side is other machine.
These require a lot more maintenance.
Maintenance is same, I want to say.
You got these working really well, right?
Yes. What we have the problem is only the electronics components, which are very old, and spare parts are not available. But from mechanical point of view, the concept of the machines are almost perfect.
Yeah.
Of course, we did some improvement. Here, just one point. It's automatic grinder. We try to test it. Here you can see that the overflow is going through the rack, and we move it to the cycling. This we will show you. But here, the overflow is going automatically inside to the grinder.
And it's ground down immediately?
Yes. It's grinding, and it's going back immediately again to the machine.
And it's perfectly usable?
Reuse all the material, and we are on the way to achieve that.
How many records would you say to stack up?
Depends if the record is heavy or light, because even for LP we can get 2 standards, 140 grams or 180, and to the weighting position there can be between 60 to 100.
Here the flash is collected in bins, and here they grind it right up. Well, that's that one isn't updated yet.
It's a compilation called Rock Around the Clock with Del Shannon doing Runaway and Dion doing Runaround 2. Connie Francis doing Upstairs Lipstick on Your Collar. The Tornadoes with Telstar. The Benjamins Walk Don't Run. Lake Range Ringman Rumble. Bo Diddley and Bo Diddley and Alan Wolf Smokestack Lighting. That is a great collection. You will rock around the clock with that.
This is most critical operation when you change the temper. If you change it correctly, then you can get very good record. If you don't change it correctly, you have big problem.
Yeah, it can slip in the die and then you get
contamination between tool and temper. So it is crucial operation.
machine just got built? I mean, literally?
It is just get built, and we are installing before shipment to the Canada.
Ah.
So we receive it today from our tool shop. We will make it run for minimally 2 weeks, and when it's stabilized and working well, we will disassemble and then ship to the...
And who assembles it in Canada? You send one of your guys there, or they have people there?
When we send it to Canada, the team from GZ is going there,
right,
which is created from 3 people. One is technician, second one is electrician, and third one is operator.
Right.
And they all together assemble and make the training to the people in Canada in usage of the machine.
And you pick your most experienced guys to do the training. Speak English too?
They must speak English, but it's also type of the motivation of the people.
Yeah.
Because for some of them it's a very good challenge to can go abroad and to spend the time.
Sure. How long does it take to assemble one of these machines?
So for assembling, I'm counting 2 working days, and for initial trials additional 2 working days. So my estimation to my team is that day number 5, machine will already run OK records. They are able to keep it. The shortest one it was in 2 days.
What does one of these machines cost?
Oh, I cannot tell you.
I didn't think you Well, I had to ask. So are you out of room now for presses?
We are now full.
Yeah.
Final stage, I can show you recycling, if you are interested. So let's go. As Michael told you on the beginning, we still improve our efficiency. Last month was our most successful month in the pressing. From pressing point of view, daily, we did 90,000 records.
In one day?
One day. 97,000.
97. But what's most impressive to me is not only that you press that many records, but that the QC is really, really high.
Here will be a little bit noise, but here you can see how we are recycling. So the records and the overflow are going to such waiting position, and there in the end there is the mill. Where the guys are making the milling on this material and put it in this plastic sack, and we reuse them again back for the production, even for the vinyl, even for the splitters effect, or if we have too much of this recycled material, we can put them back to the extruder when we are producing again this color.
Right.
This is for our part. And colored one is approximately 30% of our production. The black one makes 70%. So, of course, for the black one, we have much more bigger machine. See the grinder, black center. Next step of recycling is if we have some pale records with the label, of course we cannot grind it together with the paper.
Right.
So we first cut out the center with the paper, and then we use it for the grinder.
But some of these records look dirty, so what happens when it gets ground back? It's not a problem?
Oh, no, they clean it.
They clean it.
Then, before grinding.
And then they put them on this conveyor belt and they go up? I like that. AZGZ. I like that. It's good. Yeah. Got the original
So
with
most of the stuff you will see here is vinyl related.
Yep.
So these are the covers. Watch out.
So these are the printing presses up here, the Heidelberg.
Yeah. There is another one.
Yeah, these are
back there.
very costly presses.
So this is the gatefold, and this is before.
Yeah.
You need to punch the little grooves so you can fold it and make the spine.
Yeah.
So it's you can get it made from different materials, different boards, different polishing, and even different. You can even get die cutting or hot foiling, finishing. So it's kind of all kinds of cool things you can do. So we mostly play on the Heidelberg machines. We got also.
He's doing a box set. Can I go walk in there and see
this? This is the cutting.
Oh, great record person. And you can do laminated too.
Yeah.
Great record too.
It's a good record too.
Yeah,
I love that record.
Yeah.
I got all that stuff on my. Yeah, I got all that stuff on my portable player. I have their EP CDs. They're really good stuff on the EP CDs. And then this is. I don't know who that is. Oh, is that the milestones on the other side? Yeah, I guess that's the other side of that.
Yeah.
They did it, because the original doesn't have a gatefold.
The thing is about this cover is that
It's paper. You're doing tip-on jacket, paper on.
yeah, this is tip-on jacket.
Yeah, you do
because
those.
What you do, you actually glue it on
paper onto cardboard. Yeah.
paper on the cardboard. So this
And
is
so you're doing that.
Yeah, we are doing that. It's
Special.
coming like to the back old style. So
Yes.
depending on the customer, sometimes they want to.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's kind of like you
Yeah.
touch it. You feel the material. This one is kind of different, especially as it is applied. You can smell it, especially color. It actually dries under
That's moving along, boy.
You can print on lamination. So for instance, you can get this cool thing that you can actually print on the silver lamination.
Wow.
And the color comes out. So it's kind of really nice. There are cool things.
That's cool. So you have different people that are experts in printing and graphics that work here too.
This one is cool as well, as you can do the partial varnishing or so
like partial laminate,
partial lamination or varnish, whatever. So it's really nice. There are a lot of different things in your life. I mean, this one is really nice. So you can print on the silver lamination you see with white base or without white base. So it's kind of like metal-like looking images and stuff. It's really nice.
Very nice.
So, and you are capable of doing that only on this kind of machine. Inner parts of the boxes, different boxes. So that's how you actually build it. So you need to cut the grooves into the board, and then you So that's how you actually build the boxes. And then you put the covers on top. This is also the place where we do the labels separation. So it's kind of, you can just walk through this.
Stop walking.
Print them and do the die cutting. So, and to make sure we get correct labels, because we need to consolidate them on sheets. So we don't mix them together. So we got the IDs on the sheets.
Yep. It's a certain kind of paper, is it? Specified paper that deals with the heat.
Paper, yeah, because
and the moisture.
Other paper that don't other paper doesn't work. So there is certain type of paper that you can use for the labels and stays the heat. Also there is special color used on the Heidelberg machines. So you need to make sure you print with the correct color and pigment.
And do you produce labels for other pressing plants too? Just
for ourselves only.
No sharing.
No sharing. This is actually the die cutting machine. It's not vinyl related product, but this is where you do the die cutting. It actually cuts the shape you actually want and divide it. Labels? It's this kind of sheet. We cut it half and then we do the die cutting. Checking the density and the proper color, matching the data.
Spinning yet? Here we go, Woodstock.
The labels, this machine. When you look, there are the blades that cut the labels.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It goes through the machine.
Yep.
So it ends like that, and you need to separate it. Separate it this way and the center. You got the label. Adventure time.
Okay, this is a 6-year-old building, packaging and shipping.
Yeah.
Got like a whole town here, essentially.
Oh yeah, it's like a town in a town.
Yeah. And you decorate this tree for Christmas? Should.
No, but we should. You know, put the
records,
the records,
labels,
or just the labels.
Yeah,
that we
bunch of labels.
Cut out.
Should.
That would be funny.
It would. So this is the original building here.
This is the original
that we
building
walked through.
That we walked through.
And that has.
It's kind of complex. All. Yeah, that's what we built. This comes from the 50s actually. So it's pretty old.
Yeah.
Little clock.
And then this building here is
warehouse.
Warehouse, and this is the new building.
And this is the customer
and this is where
service,
this is where we started.
Yeah, and where is Michael?
Yeah.
This is Michael's office.
Yeah. So all of this, this is part of GZ, but it provides heating for part of the village that that they are located in. I think that's fascinating.
for music industry, but as well LP boxes can be made on the business market.
The big box sets fire up during the Christmas season for Christmas.
Oh, it's a Vinyl Me Please record. Janet Jackson. This just gives you an idea that Vinyl Me Please is quite a big run of records. I always wondered how a subscription series where they choose the music for you is going to succeed. I didn't.
It looks like they are doing a great job.
You're doing great.
They are choosing the right titles.
Yes.
Because it's like it.
They're choosing an interesting mix of titles. And it worked out really well. That Garth Brooks, we're doing a big Garth Brooks box set. Is that what that's part of? Yeah, I've heard about that. The scale is incredible. It's really... Purple Rain.
It's mostly our pressed records and printed components waiting for packing.
Oh my God. And obviously, you don't produce stock to sit around.
No.
And so how long before all this turns over?
Like most of the records will be packed within the next few days.
Wow. It's insane how big this place is. Here in 2019, the Velvet Underground, this all Velvet Underground. There's probably more records here that will sell from the Velvet Underground than that sold in the 1960s. I swear. There's definitely more Velvet Underground records here in this factory being put together for a new Velvet Underground box than were sold in the 60s when the Velvet Underground came out. There's just no doubt about it. They're packing the Velvet Underground records. That's what they're doing. And looking at each one before they put it in there. This is all Velvet Underground. Unbelievable.
Pretty useful. It plays above 30 kilohertz.
It goes up to 30 kilohertz?
Yeah, there are frequencies
Because,
behind 20.
if we
behind 30 kilohertz.
if
That's right.
I set if we want to listen just frequencies above 20 kilohertz, we can do it this way. Here I put
So this record's
high
been
pass
played a
filter,
lot.
and then if we play it the low speed, now we are able to hear frequencies above 20 kilohertz. Yeah, we play it,
It's on there.
at slower speed,
Yeah.
and low frequencies are cut out.
Right.
Yeah, and we can hear it's mainly caused by percussion instruments.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
to be expected.
Yeah,
That's what John Bonham would expect
yeah.
you to say.
Because if frequency analyzer tell us there is something above 20 kilohertz and we don't hear what is it, the best way how to do it is
Yeah.
to play it at a slow speed.
And this record's been played a lot, and it still has 20K in it. Is that what you're saying? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that the digital remaster that Jimmy Page did and put on vinyl, I don't know whether you cut that. I hope you didn't, because it sounds terrible.
At least we know there is music information.
Yeah.
And the turntables was able to play it back. Yeah.
Well, for a piece of furniture, it's doing a good job. I will let you forget that.
Yeah, okay. Já jsem mu říkal, že mám jako nábytek, jako Andrej. I tell you the story why I say it is just a piece of furniture, because one of my colleague who is not working for us anymore has
I wonder why.
very, very expensive turntable at home, and I asked him how he bought the turntable, and he answered me that he didn't bought it, but he has after his daddy, and I asked him how daddy bought it, and he replied, daddy bought it from money they get together from his wife after the marriage. And I asked him
After the divorce.
I asked him what his wife tell him, and he replied he divorced with him.
Of course. Now you should play the track all the way through and just listen to it and enjoy it, because it sounds awesome.
If someone buys such turntable, he really have to love the music.
Yes.
Linear scale, and this is decibel scale.
This is the noisy part of the record. Now you'll be able to pick out all the pops and clicks.
Yeah. So here, this is important parameters. Angles and radius.
Did I set up the cartridge good?
It always depends on the cutting levels. We simulate with cutting levels, we think it was recorded, but we don't know exact cutting levels for this vinyl record. Yes. Only glass plus 3.
Change to spectrograph.
That's what it looked like being at Woodstock. Like that.
Turn away? Maybe... Tady ten si myslel?
Třeba.
Tam ten je.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Yeah, this is cutting stylus.
This is you're taking this playback and regenerating.
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
cut.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
Movement of cutting stylus.
Yeah.
You see exact movement of cutting stylus.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not so quick, but if we play at lower speed,
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Tam je to lepší vidět. To
Co?
jsem měl taky přece tu pohyb té drážky.
no ale ne takhle. See? This is movement of the cutting stylus.
Slow it down. Several times, slow it down.
So you're saying horizontal and vertical.
Yeah.
I like what it sounds like. We should turn it into our music.
Or another view is
No, to jsem myslel.
You can see the grooves.
yeah, this is groove in 3D space. But it's still too quick. Yeah. Maybe.
Looks great though. I love it.
Yeah, it looks.
Whoa.
Here you can see the movement of the cutting or playback styles.
Yeah.
More complicated and more difficult it is.
Yeah.
Usually more high frequencies is included in the signal. So there different view of the signals is left and right channel. This is mid-side channel and the horizontal and vertical amplitudes. And this is
It's incredible
movement
software. You can
of,
just take things apart.
this is movement of pickup system. So I can say this record was very flat. Very flat. You can see the vertical movement of the stars.
This is quite good.
Yeah, very good. This is very good. Usually,
I mean, the record was literally flat.
yeah.
You mean physically flat?
Physically.
Yeah,
physically.
I have a
Yeah.
vacuum. The furniture's got vacuum hold down. So it holds. I will not let you forget.
Or if I set the time base more and move slowly, this is movement of the pickup in the space.
It's in microns. 10
Yeah.
microns, 20
And-
microns, 30
Yeah,
microns.
you see, I can
Whoa.
draw the movement very, very slowly. It's too much.
That is amazing. This is.
And it's more for scientific purposes. We don't do it for every title. We don't do this for every title.
But we can.
We can do it, but it's...
Oh,
Ah!
it's too much.
That's me drawing.
Too much.
That was me at Woodstock.
Yeah, you see, this is the movement.
Yeah.
Of the stylus.
Yeah.
No.
And if the groove is too complicated, some styles have different to follow the groove.
This stylus on this
correct.
cartridge is a replicant 100, which is as close to a cutting stylus shape as there is.
Yeah. According to our experience, is the line stylus or Shibata stylus or SAS, of course, is able to follow the groove very, very accurate in comparison with elliptical, conical.
And this is a degree more complicated than even a Shibata stylus, a replicant. If you don't set it up right, it cuts your records to slices. But if you set it up right, it gets everything that's in the record out. It's quite good.
Yeah.
So you still haven't started the song at the beginning and played the whole damn song. That's what you should do, and just enjoy the song. But this is great, though. People are going to love seeing this.
This is in everything in the numbers. Yes.
Sure.
Here is peak volumes. This is RMS level. This is loudness, crest factor, dynamics.
That's pretty
maximal
good.
current into cutting head, RMS current, then
Power.
this is power and cutting speed and slew rate, amplitudes, horizontal, vertical,
Maximum values.
acceleration and angles. So if I click on the angles, it locate the position where maximum angles will occur. Yeah, and
So it's like you can forensically take a record that's been pressed and
there is
generate
always some limitation.
Yeah,
and
this
it depends how near or how far from this limitation we can go.
Yeah.
And it depends on the kind of music or music genres, on how the audio files are prepared for vinyl records. Then there is the whole translation and how complicated the groove is. And this information is for frequency spectrum.
Yeah.
It's more useful for digital masters, because as you know, analog masters are prepared differently. Analog tape is more suitable for cutting vinyl than digital masters. So we need to have some tool to analyze digital masters to find problematic parts and its dangerous parts.
Yeah.
In this time it's necessary.
Because when I started here 30 years ago, I do all the settings according my ears. Yeah, but it needs some time, of course. And last years we cut about 40,000 titles, sides. Sides.
40,000 sides.
40,000 sides.
Did you ever get home?
Sometimes. So we need some tools that help us to do it
Of course,
faster.
no, it's
and
phenomenal.
so we can concern only for the critical parts of the audio, because if we handle the critical parts, then the rest will be good. Yeah, of course. And we have to care about not only for cutting, but only for the playback. Because if we cut something that is not possible to play, it doesn't make too much sense.
Right, but then comes the issue of, do you make it so it's possible to play back on the best equipment, or do you dumb it down to make it so that it's playable on...
Somebody should tell us.
Yeah.
I think it should be made to play on the best equipment, and then if you can't handle it, get better equipment. That's what I think with records. That's what I think.
If we don't have any instruction, we try to set cutting parameters and processing according to better equipment.
Yeah. Because that's what Bob did and got in trouble for that, because it wouldn't play on the kitty phonograph. But who is it really who are we making records for now? I think that's the other thing. Who are we making them for? We're making for people. One side is the sound enthusiasts who want really the best sound, and then there are the people that just want a souvenir.
Yeah.
And then DJs, of course.
If someone spent a lot of money for his equipment, then expected that he buy records that would play good. Yeah, and so we try to offer such people something that they expected.
Yeah, and it depends on the music too.
Yeah.
But if it's an audiophile label looking for something, you should give them everything. Don't hold back.
I remember before I started to work here, and when I studied at the university, and I bought some record that sounds bad, I was very, very disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't go back to shop and return the records because there were no shops for records that I was buying.
Right.
Yeah. So this is why I can feel the disappointment. And like we got so many titles of unknown artists that are very well prepared, recorded.
The latest details.
But they are produced in very small quantities, and I believe that just few people in the world knows that artist. And there, on the other side, there are many well-known artists that the files we receive are not so good prepared. But sometimes it's hard to prepare it if we don't receive any better files.
Sometimes we receive digitalized analog tapes. And it's perfect to work with this. Typically from Sweden. I worked on many files from Sweden, many digital masters. It was like cutting from analog tape. It was perfect. Yes. And sometimes digital remasters, like the Rolling Stones, from 2010. It was
compressed.
It was compressed. Yeah, the second box, but the first box was very well prepared, and our changes were very, very, very small. So almost not necessary to do.
Exile in Main Street was not. That was not good at all. The one that came out in the and then separate box. It was squashed completely. I've got the original pressing because when Mick and Keith finished that record, they took the tape over to Artisan Sound in Los Angeles and they cut it, and that record is really good. Because most of the playback gear of that 70s era, most of the reviewers couldn't play it back right. So they said it sounded muddy, but it does not sound muddy, it sounds great. And then the remaster in the box set was like squashed down, all that da-da-da, boom! It was da-da-da-da-da-da-da, rock and roll.
And this is maybe it's a bigger problem in CD format, because if you compare CD produced today and 30 years ago, you immediately see the difference in the loudness.
And quality.
Because they want it loud. So now CDs have no dynamics and records have dynamics. It's like the stupidest world.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to compress CDs.
No.
Because there are enough dynamics and there are knobs on my amplifiers where I can
but you know why
play
they
it louder.
You know why they do it? They do it because the cynics at the record labels think the kids want it louder. We're going to make it louder because if it's louder, they'll buy louder. And that's backwards. Ultimately, you're just going off a cliff with that. And they were one of the seminars at the Making Vinyl event, or somebody from one of the major labels saying, we tried educating consumers with Super Audio CD and DVD audio and giving them better, but they didn't want it. Now they like MP3, so we're just going to go there. And I just got up and said, you're going to follow the crumbs off the cliff if you don't try to educate. And SACD and DVD audio failed because you had two competing formats at the same time and nobody knew which one to buy, and they marketed it poorly, and you're blaming the consumer for not following up on what you messed up. You messed it up. And if we follow the crumbs off the cliff, we'll have nothing. We cannot follow the crumbs off the cliff. We have to keep making better and teaching people what better is. That's what I do.
And teaching the people.
Yes, and they learn. I know they learn because I've got lots of followers on my website, and and then they try something and they go, "You're right, you're right." And so I know I'm right.